Someone wrote in, oh, by the way, can I just say something? Um, so I was like, I am I'm the poster child for anticipatory anxiety. So even when I'm excited about something, I get really like worked up and anxious due to the excitement. And so I was processing like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this when I can't see people, when I can't speak with someone? I'm so used to being one-on-one or in groups, and I'm literally just staring at myself, and I can feel all of your presence, which is so comforting and calming to me. So I so appreciate you, each of you showing up to be here with me. It makes me feel really safe and secure and in connection because speaking into a camera alone is extremely disorienting, um, disassociative for me. Um, and so I appreciate you being here. But when I was processing and kind of like probably over processing the anticipation of this, I was remembering how when I was a kid, my mom would listen to Dr. Laura Schlesinger. Do you guys, I don't know if that ages me, but my mom would listen to Dr. Laura Schlesinger. I think I'm saying her name right. And I loved that show as a kid. And I was like, that is my dream. That is my purpose. That is my life. Somebody give me a radio show and ask me questions. And so I was like, okay, I'm really nervous to do this, but I'm just gonna, what would Dr. Laura do? Okay, so even though I'm nervous, I'm gonna show up and answer some questions and live out my dream. Also, another thing I will say is that the concept of we are going away from our old life and the old world, and how would you spell Dr. Laura's last name? Girl, I don't know, but I will look it up for you and email you. Um, I I was thinking about how this feels really new and exciting, but also scary and nerve-wracking for me to do. And so I had this vision when I was like meditating and going into trance in preparation for this. I had this vision of being um, plucked out of my old life, like unstuck, and then like taped into this new version of self or this new way of channeling because it's like the channeling that I love to do, but I'm doing it differently or I'm doing it in a different way. And as seemingly, um, like if to other people that doesn't feel big, to me it felt big and it felt scary. And so I'm just sharing with you this kind of mantra came over me where I just began to say, like, I accept. I accept this change. I let go of that old version of self and I allow myself to just experience for the first time this new way of channeling for people. And I'm all in, even though it feels scary. So unstick yourself. Rather than thinking about it like, oh, I feel stuck, like you can't move forward, think of it as like being peeled off the walls of your old way of being and then sticking to the new walls. So unstick yourself and let yourself be new. Okay, so that's why I was laughing because I said this caller wrote in and said, okay, so this client wrote, I am feeling called to lean into the collective to hold space for spiritual growth and healing. Yes. Love this. The message I keep hearing is that even a drop in the bucket can make an impact. Am I making this up, or is this a message from the universe? You are not making this up. This is absolutely a message from the universe. Um, this this is going back to the worst thing we can do right now is to not be so aware of our power and to be distracted away from our power. Yeah, this is the time to be so empowered by how you can be part of the collective body of consciousness by way of just how you're choosing to live your life and where you're putting your attention because like attracts like. So if you're making choices, like attracts like, everything around you will become resonant to that frequency, and everything in the future is frequency. Everything is intuition, everything is frequency. We cannot be distracted. The frequency of our consciousness and our intuition is so much bigger and so much stronger than anything you could be sold on the internet or by the media. They go on to say, I've begun to feel joy for abundance, both tangible and not yet realized, but I feel like wealth and love are here. I'm just not seeing them yet. This feels like a selfish question, but I'm looking for validation in what I'm experiencing, if what I'm experiencing is truth and not wishful thinking. Again, I so thank you for this sentiment because going back to we choose to feel something about our future and then bring it back to the present, or we choose to consciously conjure that sensation now and know that the circumstances will come that align with that, but these circumstances will be different. We anyone who tells you exactly what the future will be literally versus conceptually, I counsel you to not listen because I cannot tell you how many very intuitive people around me, including my 9-year-old child who just like speaks prophecy, um, has been saying things like unprovoked about certain things in the world that we're being told is the future is actually a flop. Um, so I love this is such a time to feel joy, abundance, to feel wealthy, to feel and be loved. This is absolutely the time to be connecting to those feelings and then to allow circumstances, new circumstances, to come join that. And those are simply put, this is the law of creation. The law of creation begins with the almighty power, which expresses light, then soul, then energy, then physical uh, physical incarnation. So if right now in kind of the law of creation, we're delving very specifically, I would say, in energy prior to the physical fruition of things. And so this is where we need to be extra choice in what we're choosing to feel, sense, and experience. And it is a choice. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so we have a client that says, does it make sense for me to continue investing my time and energy in a role with their company? Will it eventually pay off big? Does it make sense for me to continue investing my time and energy into co-creating a community? What else do I need to learn, change for sustainable financial prosperity to finally become a reality? So, a lot of the questions that came through had to do with where to put our energy and financial security as it pertains to our efforts as humans, right? So we know that our souls are infinite, our human form is finite in the resourcing of energy that we have. And so right now, in being extremely choice and selective with our actions, we want to not be flooding a lot of energy into something, especially if we're not gaining um, an immediate payoff. And so the rest of 2026 has a lot to do with um, simplifying, how do I put this? Honing in on where you're experiencing the greatest connection and value for your energy. And then 2027, more into 2028, but 2027 and 2028, that's when we're going to see more traction outside of ourselves, more traction with the world around us, more movement. But what I'm seeing a lot with my clients is they're saying, hey, in the past, I would do X, Y, and Z, or I would do steps one, two, three. and I would see the physical reward or physical fruition of that labor. And people, especially in this calendar year, have been reporting to me, okay, I'm not getting anywhere with this. I'm actually working harder and gaining less traction. And so this is a time right now um, to prioritize leaning into what is readily available to you right now, and then um, putting larger investments to the side. So not over giving, not over investing, and not over sharing and essentially draining your energy for something that isn't giving you an immediate reward. So there are times in the uh, in the life of creation where we invest our money, our time, our energy for the long term. But I just want to be very straightforward. Right now is not a time to be investing investing in a way that will cause you undue stress and further dysregulate you. So if you're in a situation where you need to actually just find your footing and be able to relieve yourself of stress, that's what's most important right now. And then we can reassess our investments financially and also with our time and energy. Mm, okay, for time's sake, I'm going to have to move on. Okay. Um, what do my guides want me to know about the future? Your guides want you to know about the future that you will be part in creating the future. And so, uh, in our lifetime, we will have such an impact on the future more than any other lifetime we've had thus far and any other generation. Um, and the reason is we're beginning to tap into a level of intuition and power and confidence that needs a slow start. Like it needs this slow, overwhelming start so that we don't use the power in a way that we'd have to unwind it. Okay. So you are going to be part of creating the future and um, to allow it to be slower than you desire. I think that's another thing that needs to come through for a lot of these questions is a lot of our anxiety or desperation to know what we need to be doing or what the future holds. We need to be able to calm and steady those parts of us so that we can actually be active creators of a regulated way of being. Okay. Um, so another client says, what are the best ways for me to prepare for the future? I'd love any info about my career, love life. They work from home. They don't have many opportunities to meet someone. They don't have any interest in dating apps. Okay, so let's prepare for the future. Um, so what's coming through for any and all of us for how to prepare for this future? I've been channeling this for several years. I want to say might even be close to 9 or 10, but quality of life is, I would say, if I were to concentrate or deduce down everyone's purpose of why we're here. In fact, someone's question literally was, what is my purpose here? We're quite literally here to be messengers of hope and how life can be lived on earth through sensation and experiences, um, not just like optimized as if everything's perfect, but really experienced from a place of understanding that the sensations and the natural rhythms of life are inherent to goodness um and we are here to increase and prosper the quality of life. So preparing for your future would be by today living the greatest quality of life that is within your means today. So that's actually how we can best prepare for the future, is to be extremely present to moment, hour by hour quality of your day to day life. Because you also mentioned that if there's anything you can do for your children, for their personal growth and to be happy, since it's been a heavy couple of years. So yes, find any and every way to enjoy your time in the present moment right now. So the greatest, what do they say? Like comparison is the greatest thief of joy. Distraction is the greatest thief of joy. Um, we we should not be cheated out of how brilliant life on earth is by becoming distracted and dysregulated. So ground yourself in each day with your children and in your life. As far as meeting someone, I believe when you're focusing on bettering your own quality of life, which is inherent to aspects of being part of community and inherent to being in relationship with yourself and with others that share a similar frequency, that you will be given opportunities to meet with people. So I would say if you're not feeling inclined to put yourself out there or to go out into the public, focus on, okay, what would I like to do to increase my connection um, and relationships with a sphere, whether it's one person, two people, three people, just really pour into your sphere. And that's what we're going to see in the future is we are going to be creating we are in the midst of creating a future that's based on community that is much more present, deep, and intentional than we've ever experienced before. And we're all craving that, and that's something that we can do. And yeah, pouring intimacy into the relationships that are already available to you, like with your children and with maybe a few people outside of your home that feel comfortable, safe, and secure for you, that will often call in other forms of intimacy and assist with being open to a romantic partnership to come in. All right. I have a client that said, maybe my question is, what does this relationship provide? So this client sent me an update on their current relationship situation and then asked, what is this relationship providing for me anymore? If you're feeling like you're in a relationship and you're not quite sure what is providing you, I'm going to tell you it's providing you a lot. Because simply put, that question is offering you so much. So I would counsel you to I would counsel you to sit with that question in every open, vulnerable way, meaning like sit and channel, right, or journal all the things that are frustrating you about the relationship, all the things that just almost like I'm just seeing this vision of needing to do like a data dump or a purge of everything that feels off or that you're holding, because I'm noticing a lot right now that there's this like new blank slate with karma for everybody, even in their relationships. But it's like some of us are still kind of like strategically holding aspects of us or aspects of our relationship or stories about people that we're in relationship with. It's like we're still holding it hostage and we need to just kind of like purge. And that's why a lot of us are feeling heightened sensation regarding certain parts of life that we're holding on to that actually we really just need to purge all of those anxieties and stressors out about, and then to really assess in the current moment, okay, I've released and forgiven all of that from the past, but who are you now to me? What is my experience in my relationship with you now? And that's going to take time. So, my current kind of temperature check on that is if you do the work to journal and purge and grieve and process all of the buildup that and pain that you need to kind of just get that ick off of you, once you've processed that in its entirety, and then you transition into just assessing who this person is, what they bring, what the value add or lack thereof is in your life, and what your current relationship dynamic is, that assessment time frame has a time stamp on it. For some of you, it will be weeks, some months, some maybe years. But to be patient with that process of assessment and know that it needs to come from a place of like intuition. Um, yeah. Okay, next question is how will AI integrate into our daily lives in the future? Now, most of us are using things like ChatGPT, AI tools to help with daily work tasks, wondering if at any point it surpasses humans where we don't actually use it personally anymore. Oh, if it surpasses humans where we don't actually use it personally anymore. I hope I'm understanding that question correctly. If it surpasses humans where we don't actually, meaning like we get rid of AI or it starts working on our behalf and then we don't have to work. I'm going to answer both just in case, or hopefully it's not like a third option. Um, how will AI integrate into our daily lives in the future? I think it's already integrating in our daily lives. I think we need to do our best to um, use it as a very much like outside of us tool and not rely on it so heavily. Like there's so many ways that AI is has been and will be integrated that is just like like under the radar and fills in the gaps. Um, Similar to like the internet where like, so, things get faster on the internet, websites get more user friendly. So, like, there's so many aspects of AI that won't be in any way detrimental, other than the fact that making things easier often like messes with our brain. And so we need to just not have it be such a big, like technology shouldn't be such a big part of our lives, daily lives. But as far as surpassing humans where we don't actually use it personally anymore, ultimately, our guides just keep reiterating we need to choose to live outside of technology as much as possible. Um, to me, that comes back to quality of life. So, did we come to Earth to play with technology? No. So a good question to ask us is how much of our daily time is in connection with technology? Reclaim your your truth and your purpose and your freedom and your ability to connect to life. Based on what the future looks like, what should we be doing now to prepare? I think I already touched on this a bit about being very purposeful with your day-to-day quality of life, connection with what you deem is your highest valued purpose for being here. It's so crazy how when I read for people and just seeing when they make a choice, how like the compass or dial moves like even just 1% or 1 degree, and then the path or the trajectory or the life experience they have completely alters. So I cannot say enough about sometimes it's less about trying to avoid something or assume that we have control over what other people or technology or certain people of society or governments or groups, like rather than trying to attempt to know everything that other people are doing or control everything that other people are doing, actually being intentional about what you're spending your time doing is so extremely powerful, not just to the collective body of consciousness and the way society responds to the changing desires, needs, wants, and desire and actions of the people, the collective body of consciousness, but also how you just like become blissfully unaware of what other things may be happening because it doesn't overpower or steal you away from being in connection to what you're choosing to flood your system with and what you're choosing to participate in. Based on what the future looks like, what should we do? Okay, yeah. Does America split up in our lifetimes? I thought this was really interesting when I saw this because the guides immediately said America is currently split up, and we will see in our lifetime a coming back together. So I'm assuming our guides mean that more energetically, or I don't know, maybe it could be literal, but the energy that I got from that is that we're very much divided, split, and broken. I don't want when I say America, I mean the energy feels less to do with governments. That's a whole other thing. Um, it felt like our guides were saying there's a break and a rupture and a core wounding just in the collective consciousness. Um, and I think that's systemic and worldwide. And we are ultimately in real time choosing to come together in a way that I think a lot of us aren't necessarily visually seeing yet, but we're feeling that sense of hopefulness and that deep desire. And I believe in our lifetime, because of that desire and because of the cultivation and creation of that within us and the intention and devotion in our actions over the next um, several decades, I believe that it will bring nations and people together in ways that will be very surprising. So I heard, nope, it won't split up. People will come together and it will be miraculous and surprising and needed. Um, Do digital blockchain technologies have any impact on shaping the US or world economy in the coming years? Yes and no. So I just keep getting over and over from our guides that we will all be very surprised as what actually ends up coming. It's almost like the word that comes through from our guides is like beta testing, beta testing, beta testing. Like a lot of people, the way information is shared so on such a massive scale now, every beta test, every psyops, like every idea that someone has, it's just like rolled out. And so we're just constantly being fed these ideas of how our future will be. But these are all just like tests to see what will stick and what consciousness will choose. And so going back to we are being tested, this is a temperature check. We need to understand our power in responding to whatever these beta tests are that come out. Um, and there's nothing too big that can't be overthrown. So if something comes in and it's not right, it will collapse. If something comes in and it's not in alignment with the betterment of humanity, it will collapse. That's another thing. Before this kind of stepping over the threshold into a new era, I saw a lot of things in the world where there was this energy of like, oh, there's a lot of energy being poured into and in support of this thing that actually isn't good for us. It's very interesting. Very recently, I've seen that the collective new era of energetic and spiritual environment is actually just making things less less capable of staying or remaining. And so we need to be very flexible and adaptable and to not take something as concrete or take something like, oh, this is the way it's going to be, or this is rolled out. And so now we're doing this, and now we need to get on board with this. I hear a lot of people say, oh, we just need to learn how to work with this and we need to get on board and we need to evolve with it. Actually, a lot of things are going to come in, and if you say assume that you need to be in a position to connect with that because that's the future, you'll just be taken down like a side path and then have to work your way back this way. So a lot of things are being thrown out there and tested, and a lot of things aren't going to stick. So wait to integrate with something until it's like, you know, you see it really being taking shape and taking form. And you align with it within your intuitive self, your subtle body energy. Okay, on the topic of new Earth, do you see a timeline split coming and what does life look like by 2030? Timeline split. I think timeline split. I feel like we have already experienced the timeline split. Um, I'm sure there's a lot of different schools of thought regarding a timeline split, but I see that we've already crossed over the timeline split, and the split and the divide will just continue to get uh, larger and larger and larger. Um, 2035, I see so much more peace and calm and regulation on the other side of 2035 than we're experiencing now. And the reason is we are like raising ourselves as infants right now who are more emotionally volatile, but also more easily reassured if we're provided the right support and not neglected. But navigating life 10 years from now where we will more likely be, in our adolescence of this kind of new wave of energy will feel a lot calmer and more steady and grounded in the in that yeah, in that time frame. Okay, another question, another client asked, a common thread circulating and being felt is that humanity is going through an awakening. There are so many kinds of awakening. Can you elaborate any common threads for this group? Do I have a pivotal milestone marker? Do I have any pivotal milestone markers left in my life? Can you elaborate? Will my health be restored? Um, Common thread circulate. Okay. Yes, I would say more. Okay. So in the past, an awakening was almost like coming into a new threshold or coming into a new um, chapter or consciousness or wave of energy within, we'll say, like a set of records. So an awakening is like downloading a new level of consciousness related to your current life experience. I mean, to me, more than a new awakening, this feels just like a total new era and a return to a state of like a zero state where we have these memories of the past that can be both helpful in wisdom but distracting in trauma, um, as we're literally creating a new way of being. So um, it's a lot happening at once, and we're feeling into the fact that we're multidimensional and omnipresent, and so we're feeling pulled in a lot of different directions. And so more than an awakening, it's a new era, and we need to be controlling the way we're allowing ourselves to think and feel and act at this time. Um, let's see. Do I have any pivotal milestone markers left in my life? Can you elaborate? Yes. We all will experience the most pivotal milestone markers in this lifetime than a lot of lifetimes, I think. Um, I think the beginning of this lifetime up until now has felt like maybe it was in slow motion, and life is going to start in ways speeding up with energy. Energy is going to be sped up, but our human self is going to be slowed down. And that's causing a lot of this physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual anxiousness in that change where energy felt slow, but we felt fast. And now energy feels fast and we feel slow. It's a big change. So we have a lot of milestone markers that we're going to be much more deeply aware of. We are going to be much more psychically attuned and deeply aware of these milestones. Um, the evolution that we're going to be moving through spiritually together as infants, cultivating, secure attachment with our souls, kind of the spiritual rewiring of our um, adolescent brain mapping spiritually, energetically, psychologically, and moving into adulthood. It's going to, we're going to experience a lot within the remainder of this lifetime. Not only experience, but witness in other people, witness in the world. Okay, next we have, what is my purpose here? How am I supposed to be making money? What is the time frame of things to come together? When will life reflect a healthy, happy, fulfilled expression? When will I have my home and autonomy? What will it take to actually have this? How do we change the old mental state and physical patterns and behaviors? When will my body finally move over the threshold into consistently staying healthy? Is my right side ever going to release or shift so that it works correctly again? Can the chronic inflammation usually actually be fully healed? Are my autonomy issues strictly because of my attachment style? Do I keep studying the attachment philosophy, or can I simply just stop trying to fix myself? Okay, so here we have, I want to talk about some of us, because I definitely am wired to think and communicate with my higher self, with my guides, with the world in this manner. A lot of talking about the anxieties and stressors that we presently experience and our desire to understand the future and will it change? How can we change it? Um, some there's a hypervigilance that comes when somebody is hyper aware, hypersensitive, and intuitive. And so I want to talk about, our guides. I don't know if I've shared this in group, maybe I have, but I've been channeling a lot that um the future has never been more open, in a sense that we can ask questions about the future, not for the reason that it's been dictated, but for the reason that we have full connection to our guides that will tell us exactly how we need to create it. And that's what's so different from when I first started channeling in the beginning of 2015. It was easy for me to channel a lot of the next steps or future because it was just right there. Like I could read it like a book. I could just say, "Oh, you're going to do this next." It was almost like, "Oh, this is what's going to happen next. This is what you're going to do next." Over the years, it's transitioned to this is what we should be doing to create our immediate future, intermediate future, and long-term future. And now we're just like way over the threshold into, well, everything we do is what we're creating. And so great power, great responsibility. So when you say, what is my purpose here right now at your life? Creation. How am I supposed to be making money a living and a living? Um, how am I supposed to be making money and a living? I would say your guides don't specifically say you have to be doing any one thing. They're asking for us to remain open to opportunities and to take one opportunity at a time and to allow things to be changeable and movable and to continue to show up and to allow for a period of time for things to be pieced together. What is the time frame for things to come together? Meaning when will life reflect the healthy, happy, fulfilled expression? So a lot of us want to feel calm, safe, secure, provided for as it pertains to stability. So we need to right now find security, find stability, find comfortability in the changeability, in the constant changing environment um, for some time. So I don't want to say, oh, you're going to feel safe, secure, comfortable in September of 2027 because you will do that. You will choose to be highly uncomfortable, dysregulated, stressed out until that point, when in reality, you could choose to feel all of these things as things are kind of like breadcrumbs that you're, taking one step at a time, moment by moment to get to that place. So going back to the original channeled download that we received together from our guides, right now is a time to I want to read this again. Remain super open and remain flexible and not desperate or dependent on specific outcomes. This is because the ways our minds are telling us we will feel safe, feel loved, feel comfortable, belong to the old world. This doesn't mean we are not meant to feel safe, loved, comfortable, or whatever we are looking to feel and experience. It is that we will actually be surprised how those feelings are sustained. So, a lot of things that used to give us a sense of security will actually not feel secure in this new world. A lot of things that will end up sustaining our senses of security, fulfillment, health, happiness will be surprising to us. So we need to choose to feel them now because we deserve to feel good now. And then we can be allowed to feel surprised. Um, when will I have my own home and autonomy? Well, I'm gonna say your higher self specifically just came in and says you do have your own home and autonomy. It is your body. Um, so as far as a place that you will live, I'm hearing that many of us in this new way of being will actually choose to move uh not always frequently, but in this new way of being, there will be more movement, and the old paradigm of settling in one place and having the brain mapping that being in one place or owning one place makes you feel more secure than how we're meant to feel. That's a key part of what you are helping cultivate and create uh, for future generations. You're here. What is your purpose? You are here to create, and a part of your offering is to find home and autonomy in your body and to share that. um, and to advocate for that so that people don't experience such trauma when they're pulled from places, spaces, homes. We need to get away from that outdated paradigm. How do we change the old mental state and physical patterns? Exactly. So thank you for that question. And then you talk about the right side of the body. So that is groundedness, security, stability. So frequency is a major part of healing the body and being very choice and how we are choosing to live and exist here on Earth right now and in the future. I've shared this before when I worked in a naturopathic medical center, the physicians would ask me, what is the future of naturopathic medicine or holistic medicine? What can we do to prosper holistic medicine, integrative medicine, rather than just kind of keep people, connected to big pharma or medical interventions that aren't necessary, and really to bring about the wisdom of the body and how it's able to sustain health and to heal miraculously and inherently. So I remember channeling so long ago for them that within my lifetime, essentially integrative medicine, holistic medicine, naturopathic medicine, these art forms would become much more normalized within my lifetime. And so, what I remember saying, like, oh, intuitives and healers will become the new doctors at some point. And so it has to start with the body of consciousness because how the individuals and the collective body of consciousness moves dictates and directs who we go to for help, assistance, and um, uh, problem solving or working through our needs physically, emotionally, psychologically, and with our bodily health. So I do want to say that there's been a lot of people that have asked about health, and at this point, where I'm seeing, you know, a lot of you have done a lot of treatments holistically, naturopathically, all of these things. The new wave, if you have these lingering issues, is to really delve into the frequency of your body within the subtle body energy. So when I've been stressing over and over and over, speaking on regulation, that is a frequency in and of itself. Homeostasis comes from regulation. Homeostasis allows the body to be a self-healing mechanism. So if you're dealing with inflammation, if you're dealing with pain, if you're dealing with disorder, disease, obviously, I'm a huge um, advocate for working with your healthcare providers. This is not to replace your healthcare providers' counsel and or medical treatments and interventions. This is to understand in your own life, showing up and pouring into your health in every way that you can as you are your greatest healer, first and foremost, and then having a counsel, um, an appropriate counsel of advisors to you, namely your physicians, counselors, loved ones, etc. But really owning the time that you have with your body to focus on regulation, because ultimately, what's going to happen in our lifetime is every disease is going to be studied to be related to stress. That's it. They're going to probably come out with that in my lifetime if they haven't already. I'm not super up to date on news and media, but I think there's a lot of wanting to kind of talk around and just say, oh, this causes this, or this is genetic, or this is this, or this is that. And then when in reality, it's like, okay, but like even if you have a genetic predisposition, it's stress that activates that genetic pathway. So everything is stress. I've always said that um, I would that most of us would not be doing the work that we are doing if we all knew how to breathe correctly. Because if we can breathe correctly, we can process emotion and connect to our body and regulate in our bodies in order for our body to do everything that it needs to do to be self-healing. Um, Autonomy issues. Okay, so autonomy issues strictly because, okay, are my autonomy issues strictly because of my attachment style? Do I keep studying the attachment philosophy or simply just stop trying to fix myself? So, I'm hearing that if you, so any concept, I just want to say this. Most concepts in the world, don't need to be studied for very long. So if you're finding yourself studying under the same umbrella of something for a long time, just know that you can hear the same empowered sentiment a million different ways. And the beauty of that is everyone has their heart pierced by a different concept in a different way. So, but it's all the same truth. So if you feel the power of something come to you and you're like, "Oh, that really resonates with me." Okay, you got it then. Like you got it. It's over. You understand it. Unless you're going to be a teacher of it and coach and counsel others, you probably don't need to further study it. You got the empowerment from it, and now you can position yourself to live by that law, live by that standard, live by that decree, live by that knowledge, and really just put yourself in a state of living versus constant processing, which again, I'm definitely one that I have to constantly redirect myself to not hyper focus in the over processing of something and to really say, okay, that's enough processing. And now we return to life on earth. We return to what we are here to experience and the bountiful life that we are here to live. I need water. Okay. Um, Okay, so this client has a child who had their father pass away, and the child is heir to an estate, but there's another family member. I'm trying to be discreet for privacy, but there's a family member that is attempting to block the child's rights. And the question is, I feel like I'm entering into another legal issue with this family all over again. What do I need to know about this? Um, so when I channel for clients regarding the judicial system, law, family dynamics like this, when it involves the judicial system and money or property or assets, I always go back to it's a step by step discernment. And thank goodness I know this mother and I know this client well, and I know that this individual will be able to be touched by the voice of her soul's intuition, her son's soul's intuition, what is meant for him and what is not meant for him. And so the overwhelming message is to take it step by step and to not attempt to worry or overwhelm your mind about an outcome, which sometimes is the opposite, right? Sometimes we're like, hey, hyper focus on this specific great outcome and then manifest it. And your guides and everyone that's dealing with something right now regarding family, assets, the judicial system, take it one step at a time and ground in that next first step ahead of you, in front of you, or that you're navigating, so that you can stay this fine-tuned vessel to receive stop, go, stop, go, stop, go. Because I believe that will be your superpower. Your superpower will be in your day-to-day discernment and what is right and what is just. I do see ultimately um, prevailing and the highest and best good for your child. But for you to not have to navigate this with stress and dysregulation, and for you to be a regulated vessel of reassurance and presence for yourself and for your child, take it step by step, discern it. And anytime you start to like think too much about the situation outside of when you need to be thinking about the situation or when you start to like guess what the future will hold, go back to what we're saying is you deserve to feel, what did our guides say? Despite the stress, my body deserves to rest. Regulation and relaxation, despite confusion or anticipatory anxiety or fear of the unknown, is what we are meant to be doing right now. Okay. Okay, so are my daughters, another client asks, are my daughters in the right place to grow? As far as sports, are they with coaches who see them? So are they in the right place to grow? Yes, growth is inherent. Are they being supported emotionally? I'm hearing that we need to increase our emotional connection and intimacy for all our children right now. They are feeling this new expansion and arrival in this new place of energy very deeply, very empathically right now. And they need now more than ever our reassurance and our intimacy and our connection. And so, yes, they're always going to be growing, but they need to feel that connection and that intimacy to themselves, to you. And as far as sports, are they with coaches who see them? I they won't, our children won't always be around people who see them. And so it's important that we see them and they see themselves, and they can be counseled and coached in ways by us parents and by their community of adults, myself included, sharing in the the raising of my clients' children and being a counselor to them. I would say that it's a time for all of us to allow for them to be aware of the people who connect with them, who see them, and I'm getting an energy of like the specific coaches don't necessarily see them in the ways that you're wanting them to, and that would be a conversation with you and your daughters. Do you see any lingering issues being cleared up for me? Yes. And I see the issues being cleared up by way of quiet, silent contemplation. That's what comes through. So if anyone is feeling like there are um, lingering or uh, things just kind of floating in the space around them, for them that's just up, I can think of a few for myself right now. We're being told by our guides to set intentional time to be in silence and to allow those energies to be transformed before our very eyes. Um, okay, we have just a few left. I have lots of anxiety about my future, and I remind myself I can worry about the present. Having said that, I just like to know, am I still on the right path? I feel traumatized, sad, anxious, and depressed much of the time. I think having a person to share my life with would be great. Can you just help me find some peace? Um, yes. So, I think feeling traumatized, sad, anxious, and depressed most of the time has a lot to do with what we talked about, where um, we are looking around us right now and attempting to find a sense of security whether it's a tangible feeling of security or an intangible internal sense of security. And so I would go back to this practice of self-regulation and finding looking at your life and finding looking at your life and assessing with an open curiosity without judgment or shame, but looking at how much of your day is spent in coping or distraction versus regulation and connection to practices that would really conjure a different feeling. And I say this because I know this client is extremely powerful in their energy, both to be a deep feeler and the power of feeling deeply, and also um, the power and ability to create a sensation and to create a feeling. So there's power in what you practice, and you have every opportunity to find peace. Um, but it's about how much time are you spending distracting yourself away from peace or choosing to be in a state of peace throughout your day. Okay. See. Okay, so what intention should I hold as I enter the psilocybin study on Friday and Vipassana the following week? What am I truly being called to learn through my upcoming psilocybin journey and the Vipassana retreat that follows? And what do I need to know, release, or surrender beforehand to be fully open to the transformation that are meant to bring? Okay, so a um, if you're starting a treatment or a new journey, going inward, expanding, working on something, right now, the best the best way to navigate this is from a place of building versus solely clearing. So what I mean by building is looking for that golden nugget within you that may be encapsulated or buried beneath things and just kind of piercing straight into, like, I'm seriously getting visions here where it's like, rather than thinking you have to like spend all this time clearing things away out of the way to feel a certain way or to heal or resolve, almost envision like chiseling down and finding that gold or that center, and then just expanding the light of that space within you, and then having it just kind of expand so much so that the shedding around the surface doesn't need to be looked at or over processed, but it just quite simply is transformed, moved, or reshaped by focusing solely on the goodness within you. So if the study comes before the Vipassana, meditate 10 days, if it's 10 days, do your retreat sitting in ecstatic joy and peace. That is what your guides say, and what our guides say to us that we are capable of. We are capable of choosing ecstatic joy and peace. All right, this is our last question. I think I'm so sorry if I missed something. Someone. The job market is a joke. The job market is a joke across multiple industries. Job search has continued to be a struggle. I've been met with continued rejection or silence. Now isn't the time to invest in education or building a new business. So what? What do I do? Just keep at it with the same thing that I've been doing? Is there a different method or path to try? Is there something specific to look for? So, um, there's a lot of beta testing, movement, um, contracting before expanding in society and in the economy and the job market right now. And so I've been counseling my clients who are feeling the pressure of this change. I've been counseling them to do anything and everything that they can in preparation of this being a slower process to preserve their ability to uh, maintain, to simplify in order to maintain um, the course of new trajectory. I think the old world or the old thinking is that there's going to be a correction or there's going to be like a crash and then an overcorrection. And so we need to really release that concept from our minds, and we need to um, understand that this is going to be a slow recreation of the marketplace and of society. And so being able to not make any knee-jerk reactive um, investments of our time, energy, and money is really important. And so be very intentional and do what you can with what you have is a big family mantra in our family. We say, do what you can with what you have, to simplify and to be changeable and movable. So this client also says, will there be a time that I'm in a place of success and stability financially? What will it take to get there? Is it connected to any of the things that I'm doing now, or does it require a pivot? So the vision that our guides are giving me is that we may have been going down this one path and we need to allow our expansion or our consciousness to become expanded in many directions and not just kind of the path ahead, even if it's within the same market. We need to be able to, I wouldn't say necessarily pivot completely unless that's like a burning fire and passion in your heart and soul that you make a pivot, but do so intentionally, slowly, and appropriately. Don't overinvest right now through the rest of 2026. Um, but to be open to staying the course, and remain open to other aspects of your current offering for what you're doing. Then they ask, more specific to me, death doula has popped up in my sphere for a while now. Is this something that I should look into? So, something that has come through a lot for me, especially with my work surrounding supporting highly sensitive, intuitive people, is anytime you have something come to you from your soul or from the universe or something of interest, please always start with gaining access to what is easily accessible to you, and don't invest in something as if it may not don't overinvest into something that may be your soul coming to you and saying this is a gift that you have. So right now, um, purchase a book, purchase a book or check out a book from the library, or watch free videos, content online to allow your soul to speak to you through that concept, and then allow it to build. So again, we're in this like building phase in in the within ourselves with the way we are working and showing up to be of service in the marketplace to humanity within society, where we are recreating the constructs of society. So a lot of us may feel like we don't know our positioning anymore, and we're trying to find our footing and trying to find our position, and we're wanting to go from I was here and now I feel unstable, so now I want to be here. And the reality is we need to take it step by step and be intentional and be open and be curious, but let it build choice by choice rather than just trying to hop over into here. That was kind of the old world way of doing things, where we had this career and then we could say, oh, I'm going to have this career now. And then you just hop over. That's not how we're going to be experiencing this job market, this marketplace, and this economy and society. We need to be taking it one step at a time and being open to the opportunities that come to us. Another prayer and meditation that I've been putting out there for myself, my family, and for my clients is you don't have to go somewhere else to be blessed and to be prospered and to be helped. You deserve to have your feet right where you stand and to have the next thing come to you. Even if it's not going to solve all your problems, it's the next thing that allows for you to take the next breath, sleep the next night rested, and just day by day, we need to have a day by day mentality for a little while. All right. Thank you so much. I had so I had it was a pleasure. It was wonderful to be with you all in energy and to answer these questions. We'll see if our guides allow for us to do this again. I hope so much that hearing the questions and the channeled guidance from other clients was impactful and a blessing for each of you who will be watching the playback. We're here today. Thank you so much for your time and energy and your presence. Many blessings and much love to each of you. May you be blessed and prospered exactly where you stand today. Until next time.